What's up, guys? Today I want to talk about the SpiderVerse team, who I feel are essential to Alliance War. I mentioned this on stream and it occurred to me that many players either weren't aware or didn't believe me, so I brought some proof. The explanation for this is very simple. The SpiderVerse were originally designed with one major function in mind: destroying Fury Shield teams without requiring you to own any legendary characters. Now, I think it's safe to assume that most of us who aren't new to the game have already run across a Fury Shield team or two in Alliance War. They're super solid on defense, and they have very few hard counters. Yes, if you have an ungodly strong defender team, or an ungodly strong tech team, or an ungodly strong brawler team, you are able to beat them. But if you're trying to attack into a Fury Shield team that's a good bit stronger than your team, you only have a couple good options. You've got the Brotherhood, and you've got your own Fury Shield team. The SpiderVerse is an excellent addition to the roster of any player who's serious about Alliance War, because it allows you to shut down a Fury Shield defense team without sacrificing a top-tier offense team of your own. So, as we're watching these matches, I'm going to be explaining why the SpiderVerse do so well in the Fury Shield teams. In short, the SpiderVerse excel at two things: removing or preventing enemy buffs, and applying a ton of debuffs. The Fury Shield team has no answer for debuffs whatsoever, other than above average base resistance, and they rely heavily on their own buffs, which the SpiderVerse, as I just mentioned, are great at both removing and preventing. In terms of buff removal, you've got Miles Basic, which removes 3 positive effects from anyone with defense down, which Spider-Man and Venom can easily apply to the entire team. Let's not forget, Miles' passive also gives an enemy defense down every time Miles takes a turn. In addition, Green Goblin's passive gives out defense down on spawn, so these are all sources where anytime anyone has defense down, Miles is just removing buffs just by basic attacking them. Then you've got Venom's Basic, which flips 2 positive buffs into debuffs. You've got, most importantly, Goblin's passive. Definitely want to mention this. Goblin's passive removes 1 buff from 2 random enemies on every SpiderVerse turn. Seeing as the entire team is SpiderVerse, this amounts to 10 buffs removed each turn cycle. And again, if you've got some disrupts down, it doesn't even much matter. Once you've removed the first few buffs, they're not even going to get anymore. It's very, very powerful. In terms of buff prevention, you've got Miles' ultimate applying Disrupt, which prevents enemy buffs to 2 targets at level 6, 3 targets at level 7, and then you have Venom and Carnage, who can both spread Disrupt to other targets, allowing you to disrupt the entire enemy team pretty regularly. The Miles ult also kills the Fury summons on turn 1 before they can even take a turn, so you don't even have to worry about spreading Disrupt to a summon. And finally, in terms of debuffs, you've got a lot. This team is all about the debuffs. Miles does defense down, slow, and disrupt. Carnage does bleeds galore. Spider-Man does defense down, stun, and slow. Venom flips positive buffs into debuffs, so he can apply any debuff, in addition to already being able to apply bleeds, heal block, ability block. Even Goblin gets in a defense down. But what really ties it all together is that both Venom and Carnage can spread debuffs from character to character, and Miles can even extend them. So bathing your enemies in a sea of red is not uncommon. You've also got Goblin Special on turn 1, which is just an extra middle finger to shield, because it deals extra damage for each positive effect on an enemy, and it prioritizes stealth targets. So this means if Shield Operative makes a mistake of healing someone, Goblin will hit him for 380% damage at level 6, 450% damage at level 7, plus 50% damage for each positive buff, which means hitting for anywhere from 600 to 700% damage, and a lot of times he uses this on turn 1. Quick disclaimer, by the way, I was steadily upgrading my SpiderVerse team over the few days that I was recording these matches. They originally had no tier 4 orange mat ability upgrades, and by the end of it, I think I've given them 2 so far, because I am prioritizing them for war. I put T4s in Carnage's ult and Venom Special. I can't stress this enough though, the SpiderVerse team does not need any tier 4 abilities to beat Fury Shield teams. It certainly makes it a smoother win, and it allows you to punch up even higher, but I promise you, you do not need any tier 4s spent on this team for them to get the job done. But if you're going to be using them regularly on Alliance War offense, especially since we now get more orange mats, you might want to put in, 1 or 2 at least. And since I already know people are going to ask about the best orange mat upgrades for the SpiderVerse team, I'll go ahead and list them here. I'm not going to go into detail in this video as for why I've chosen what I've chosen. I will do that in a future video, which is going to be part of a multi-series on the best orange mat upgrades for each team. But again, I'll go ahead and list them for you. Number 1, Carnage ult. Number 2, Miles ult. Number 3, Venom Special. Number 4, Green Goblin ult. And number 5, Spider-Man passive. Alright, so let's go ahead and break down this fight. In this one in particular, we are punching up 45,000 power against the Fury Shield team. So let's check it out. Alright, so I've gone and slowed the footage down a little bit so I can break it down. The opening defense down is normally on security, who would normally have the highest resistance, just happens to be on assault, which actually makes this fight a little tougher for me, but it's still fine. First things first, always open up with the Carnage ult on Nick Fury because he is the priority 1 kill. And then the second most important thing that has to happen is using Miles' Disrupt on shield security. As soon as you do this, you've killed the summons, and you've prevented shield security from being able to taunt for 2 turns, and since he just took a turn, it's going to be a while. Then go ahead and spread the defense downs to as many people as possible as Spider-Man, and then go ahead and spread all the bleeds from Carnage, and you'll notice at this point Spider-Man already died, and everything's still going to be fine, and this is above average bad luck even at this point. But go ahead and use the Carnage basic to just get as many of those bleeds carried over to as many different people as you can. Then I go ahead and use the Goblin Special because no one is in stealth. I have the freedom to choose a character, and I want to get rid of Trooper because he does too much damage. Fury obviously succumbed from his bleeds. And then, again, anytime you have the opportunity to go ahead and spread a bunch of debuffs with Carnage Basic, you can go ahead and do it and kind of save that Carnage Special for when you want to just absolutely obliterate someone. And as soon as turn 2 hits for Goblin, you've got the Goblin ult, which is a super potent attack, especially when pretty much the entire enemy team has a bunch of defense downs, so we're raining fire on them from above. You've got the Venom Special, which is excellent, first from preventing Medic from using a heal or revive. I wasn't even paying attention to whether Medic had already healed or revived, but it doesn't matter because now I know it won't happen, and there's all those extra bleeds. Use the nice chunk of damage on Carnage there to just get rid of security, and Medic, of course, succumbs from the bleeds, and then it's a 4-on-1. And they'll go ahead and close out the match. So there you go. If you weren't already aware, you now know that the SpiderVerse isn't just the Shuri unlock team, they're also an invaluable Alliance War offense asset. As I'm wrapping up, I just want to talk about some upcoming plans. I know a bunch of videos have been announced and postponed in the past. There are many videos that people are still waiting for me to release, so here's what I have coming up. First, sometime in the next week or so, we'll be updating the tier list for 3.0.0. Once that's done, I'll be updating and releasing a ton of the infographics, including a new tier list graphic, a new team tier list graphic, the new Sure to Win teams graphic, and several others. Once I'm caught up on the infographics, I'll be doing another couple weeks of non-stop YouTube videos every single day, so I can catch up on and release a bunch of the more requested ones. So stay tuned, we've got plenty of good stuff on the way. And finally, for those of you that don't know, I stream Marvel Strike Force on Twitch every single day at 1 p.m. Pacific time. It's twitch.tv/Khasino. In addition, anyone is welcome to join my Discord. It's discord.gg/Khasino. We've got everything on there from blitz predictions, infographics, people hanging out, answering questions, announcements anytime I go live, either here on YouTube Gaming or on Twitch. So I cannot recommend it highly enough. Go ahead and join the Discord. A lot of times I'm just hanging out on there and I can answer any questions anyone happens to have. If not, a bunch of my alliance mates and my mods and my admins are very, very up to date on a lot of the questions that we answer all the time anyway, so there's a good chance you'll find an answer even if I'm not around. But other than that, thank you guys very much for checking it out, and I will see you guys real soon. Peace!